This video introduces the intellectual movement known as postmodernism. Postmodernism is associated with the end of World War II and is said by many to still persist. To begin to understand postmodernism, let's begin again with modernity, which is a time period associated with new ideas and practices and a strong belief in progress based on the supposedly amazing things humans can do now that they have been released from the shackles of superstition. Modernity is premised on the celebration of humans as autonomous individuals who can do great things with their intellects or minds. Modernism is an artistic response to the promise and failure of modernity. Postmodernism, in many respects, is simply an intensification of modernism. In other words, postmodernism involves a heightened disillusionment with modernity and thus offers an even bleaker and darker vision of identity, society, and history. At times we can locate the dividing line between modernism and postmodernism by tracking the category of greatness. Modernists, like Yeats, still retain the concept of great human achievement, though they tend to only see themselves as artists engaging in such acts. Think, for example, of Yeats's grand Gaia theory of history. Modernists also are often so invested in Western history as to view the failure of modernity as a great tragedy. Yeats, for example, is horrified in The Second Coming by what replaces Judeo-Christian civilization. Postmodernists, in contrast, are more disconnected from European civilization, the idea of Western progress, and any idea of human greatness. Postmodernism often stresses how humans get things wrong and don't perceive what's actually going on. While modernity celebrates human achievement and modernists celebrate their own artistic achievement, postmodernism questions our ability to really know anything or anyone for certain. With its questioning of humans' ability to really see, really know, and successfully do things, postmodernism is post-human as well. Postmodernism questions the very idea of an empowered and autonomous individual. That is, the traditional humanist idea of human identity. For example, consider the artist and photographer Cindy Sherman, who has specialized in self-portraits. Portraiture, as we have seen, has roots in Renaissance humanism. Paintings like Holbein's portrait of Sir Thomas More celebrate human achievement and agency, as exemplified by the bling worn by More, and above all, by More's eyes, which keenly look out upon and survey his surroundings at the same time that they direct us inward to his mind and his deep thoughts. On a meta level, Holbein's expert painting skills direct us to his achievement as well. In this self-portrait by Cindy Sherman, what Holbein takes seriously is treated lightly and pathetically. Instead of a golden chain, Sherman wears a cheap candy necklace. Instead of peering out intently, Sherman's eyes look empty, lost, and confused, and are surrounded by grotesque and even abject clown makeup, including huge fake lips and a cotton candy wig. Sherman directly parodies Holbein's portrait of More here. As in all her self-portraits, the image Sherman presents us with is uncomfortably fake and askew, while the realism of Holbein's portrait suggests the artist's skill and mastery. Sherman's self-portrait seems off, inappropriate, and obviously stagey. Additional iconic examples of postmodern visual art are the portraits by artist Chuck Close. Works like this showcase how postmodernism replaces the autonomous individual with an idea of identity as multiple and indeterminate or hard to pin down. I'm going to end with an important argument made by literary critic Barbara Christian. in her important essay, The Race for Theory. In that essay, Christian notes a tremendous irony regarding the timing of the postmodern turn in intellectual debates. Postmodernism really got going in the 1950s and 60s. Those decades also witnessed major social movements. In the U.S., the 50s and 60s are the time of second-wave feminism, of the civil rights movement, of Black power. These were decades when people who had long been deemed subhuman were finally, under the law, beginning to gain full human rights. As Barbara Christian keenly observes, the postmodern stress on the end of the self, the end of human agency, and the end of human history as progress emerged precisely when the objects of Western oppression, for example, women and Black people, were trying to carve out their identities and finally lay claim to their own human rights and privileges. From this view, postmodernism offensively takes human agency away from Black people, women, and other oppressed groups just when they seem to be on the cusp of finally gaining rights, asserting their identities as humans. As we shall see, Toni Morrison brilliantly negotiates this paradox. She is both a postmodern writer and presents in her work an empowered Black female selfhood.